Jeremy Sports Network coming to you live, ladies and gentlemen. How y'all doing on today? Man, big news in the sport of boxing. Saul Canelo Alvarez, did you let us down? Yes or no? How do you people feel? It's your boy Jeremy Flanagan, man. I'm tuning in. We back for another episode of Jeremy Sports Network, JSN Boxing. We back on the forefront after a wonderful weekend in boxing. We are back with some big news on this fight week right here. And man, look at what we got going on right now. Saul Canelo Alvarez testing positive for PEDs in his system. Is it true? Is Saul Canelo Alvarez a cheater? Yes or no? That is one of the main questions that we are discussing and talking about on today. We got a lot of news to get to as today is concerned. In the sport of boxing, Adrian Broner has a new opponent, and his name is not Omar Figueroa. We will be discussing that as well. Mikey Garcia take on Sergey Lipinets, and also Oscar Valdez will be defending his WBO title. Man, it's a lot we got to get to, right? But we're going to hop into all the news right now today. Those of you who want to tune in, when we open up the phone lines, the number is 404-382-0984. Please make sure that you hit us up and let us know your thoughts on this, because this is something that is big, that is going on right now, and I'm really looking forward to figuring out what is the issue as it pertains to Saul Canelo Alvarez and him testing positive for these, well, basically for Clenbuterol. But as it pertains to Saul Canelo Alvarez, he admitted he tested positive for PEDs, but is blaming it on a contaminated meat from a cow. Canelo tested positive in advance of his upcoming fight on May 5th with Triple G. The substance he tested positive for was Clenbuterol. I don't know anything about it at all, period. I'm not a genius when it comes to HGH or PEDs or whatever, but what he tested positive for is used to cut body fat while retaining muscle mass. It is banned in every major doping agency. Canelo said he's not a cheater, he's just an eater. He said that he would move his training camp immediately to the U.S. from Mexico, and that he will submit any testing that would require him to clarify this embarrassment. Now, how many people think this is something that Canelo was trying to do on purpose? Shout out to James. James, what's going on? Everybody that's tuning in. But how many people think that this is something Canelo would do on purpose? I don't think, Canelo has always tested positive. He never had an issue when it comes to drug testing, PEDs, or anything of that substance at all, period. So do you give Canelo the benefit of the doubt here? Those are one of the main questions that we have to ask. Do Canelo get the benefit of the doubt, given the fact that he never tested positive for any substances at all as it pertains to him fighting? But maybe since he's fighting Triple G, can you say he's a cheater? I mean, is that what people thinking of Canelo now, that he's a flat out cheater? Is it real? Is it true? That he tried to do something intentionally and on purpose in order to have an edge over Saul Canelo Alvarez? I mean, over Triple G? I don't know. This is tough. I mean, I'm kind of in between of, is it true of Canelo actually doing it? And given the fact that Canelo history of him using PEDs is nowhere to be found at all, period, because that's just not who we know Canelo to be. So the questions, that remain is, how do you see Canelo moving forward? Do this tarnish Canelo's legacy? Everything that he's done up until this point? Does it hurt Canelo? Or do we all believe that, it is something that's, in the cows that's in Mexico? Because to me, I didn't know, eating a cow in Mexico and you end up testing positive for some. I didn't know that, that stuff is in the meat. That's in Mexico. How long has these are the questions? How long has Canelo been training in Mexico? Like has he been doing all of his training camps in Mexico? Or is it just this particular training camp he's been training in Mexico leading up to this fight? Those are some of the questions and concerns that I have because we all know, watching Canelo when we watch them on Showtime, when they do the behind the scenes with Canelo and things of that nature, to me, I thought he was in the States during that time. Like when he fought Floyd Mayweather, I thought he was training here in the United States. I didn't think that he was overseas, not overseas, but in Mexico, training in Mexico. I thought he was training here in the United States. The last time he fought Triple G, I thought that he was training here in the United States. We got a caller calling in right now. Let's go ahead and get to the caller. Yo, what's up? State your name. Where you from?
Hey, how you doing? Jeffrey Getz. I'm calling from San Antonio, Texas.
What's going on? What's going on, Jeff, man? What are your thoughts on Canelo testing positive, man?
So, man, I'm first off, man. I love this. It's in my blood. I often say, hey, man, if there's old ladies in wheelchairs getting it on, I need it.
Right.
I love the sport. I'm a firm believer that as a fighter, you are responsible for your body. Period. That goes from taking medications, cold, what have you. You're responsible. Now I will say this. Okay, but he tested positive or alleged tested positive from some contaminated meat. But my thing is, say, bruh, if you know there are cases where other athletes have tested positive, something that has tainted the meat, then why eat the meat? There's other things that you can substitute meat. I'm being a realist.
Right.
This is not about being a Canelo hater or Triple G lover. This is a fan of the sport. And I will say this: you think about this. Think about this. Somebody tells you, "Hey, man, that building right there, that red building with that white door, don't go in there."
But you go in there
it's
anyway.
Bad for it's bad for your health. Crazy part is you sitting there across the street and you watching people going there and they go in fine and come out fucked up or French.
Oh no, but you good.
So you see them go in fine and see them come out messed up. Not just one, not just two. I mean, numbers. And you still walk in that building? Come on, man. Come on. That's why you have a coach. That's why you have a trainer. That's why you have all these folks, and nobody around him had the thought process of, hey, bruh, people out here that are good athletes, they getting popped because of this tainted meat. Say, man, we need to watch what my man's eating. Can't nobody say that?
Right.
This is what we call loyalty. Where's the loyalty, huh?
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Where's the loyalty as a fighter? Stand up and say, hey, I'm one of the best. Hey, bro, listen. They can say what they want about Floyd Mayweather. But one thing he had control over everything. Hey, bro, if you smoke that weed, you can't hang around me. Hey, bro, if you do things and you doing this, you can't come around me. See what that does, it falls back on Canelo because when it's all said and done, and we're looking at the record books and we're looking at him, they're not gonna say his trainer, they're not gonna say his cut man, they're not gonna say his second assistant, they're gonna say Canelo. And in the end, it all falls on Canelo.
Right.
If you understand what I'm saying.
Man, I understand.
So I mean, to be honest, we're all supposed to be intelligent, and I respect everybody's opinion. But once again, I will say this, and if we all had this thought process, cut through a lot of bull that we experience in society. At the end of the day, when we lay down, we right from wrong. You know what you did right during the day, you know what you did wrong during the day. Regardless. You know, right from wrong. Now, some stuff happens, man. Hey, man, some stuff happens. I wasn't aware. Okay, we'll let you do it. Dude, when there's cases and there's proof, come on, man. What you gonna do? I can't get this. Then if there's cases and there's proof, and you get popped, man, I can't. It's their fault. Why would I, as a Triple G fan, be happy he got popped?
Right.
Nah, it just takes the fight.
Right.
It just takes the fight.
So
once again, you know, hey. Well, go ahead, bro. I'm like I said, I'm passionate about the sport, bro.
Oh yeah.
And, you know, like I say, my father always told me and my siblings. He said, "Hey, man," he said, you gotta look at life as a prism, different angles, different viewpoints." But it all helps you to get clarity on what is and what isn't. And we realize right now, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna let you have your show. Appreciate you. Let me come. I'm gonna say this. No matter what view you look at, no matter where your stance is, one thing is true. He got popped, legal substance. Regardless of whether formally or didn't know that he was ingesting it, it happened. So what can we say for this? Can we say that he's a cheater? I wouldn't go that far. But what I would say is to say, bro, at the end of the day, call accountability. And all that accountability falls on you. Because once again, I know ain't nobody in your camp holding you down, strapped you to the table, just started shoving stuff in your mouth. So, you know, that's the way I look at it.
Right.
Again, I appreciate it, man. And you know, hey, I'll get back to listening to the show, man. Be
no
blessed,
problem,
bro.
man. Thank you for calling in.
Nah, no problem. Appreciate it.
Thank you. But that's you know, that's what's going on right now. And me, I am a big Canelo fan. I love everything that Canelo has done up until this point, what he's done in his career, the way that he trains and prepares for fights, the way that he put on an excellent defensive performance against Triple G. To me, I thought that was a page out of Mayweather's book, you know. And I'm a huge Canelo fan, but I honestly don't know how to feel right now. You know what I mean? As a fight fan, as a fan of the sport, I really don't know how to feel. And we sit here and these fighters that we put on a hiatus, guys like Canelo, guys like Triple G, guys, you know, any guy that is at the top right now in boxing, we put them on a hiatus. And we look for them to be the face of the sport and doing it the right way, doing everything the right way. People wanted to knock Floyd, but Floyd never tested positive for anything in his career that I know of. That is recorded. We haven't seen it yet. So we can't sit here and say, oh, well, Floyd, you know, he tested positive for this and he tested positive. We can't say that about Floyd. We can say that it was skeptical things happening and transpiring with Manny Pacquiao. Alex Ariza, you know, kind of gave us reasoning on believing that. But when it comes to top guys, we gave Luis Ortiz hell when he tested positive for a second time for PEDs before he took on Deontay Wilder. And a lot of people sat there and say, oh, well, Wilder's ducking and he's this, that, and the third and all this. When he's everything that Deontay Wilder said when it comes to fighters being clean in the sport of boxing, this is what he was talking about. This is exactly what he was talking about. We don't know if what Canelo was taking was being used as a masking agent, like how, you know, the blood pressure pills, they say that you can use the blood pressure medicine as a masking agent, you know, for other type of PEDs. Now, when it get into the science part of these things, I know nothing about it at all, period. I'm ignorant when it comes to that. So as a fan, and I asked the question, is he a cheater, yes or no? I mean, you got to feel like he knew it, right? Can we blame it on the meat? Hell, I eat Chick-fil-A. Not Chick-fil-A, but I eat burgers. You know what I mean? I eat a whole lot of other things. And not saying that I'm always being tested, you know, as far as PEDs and stuff like that is concerned. But, I mean, I'm pretty sure with everybody in here who's tuning in, who eats burgers and who have, you know, maybe been to Mexico and ate things from Mexico or whatever the case may be. Has anybody ever tested positive for that coming out of Mexico? I don't know. It's just funny how it's just, oh, well, the first thing is we're just going to blame it on the meat. Say it was the meat. I just think that's a sucker move. If you did it, you did it. I would respect you more if you own up to what it is that you did. I respect you more for that. But if you're lying and finding a reason to turn it on something else, then I have a problem with that. That's why I respected some of the players. If we go back to Major League Baseball, right? And you remember when Major League Baseball was having this huge scandal, right? With players and them taking performance enhancement drugs and things of that nature. And you had some players who were getting ready to be called out, went on ahead and called out and told the truth on what was happening and what was taking place. Guys like Alex Rodriguez. I have respect for A-Rod now, given the fact that A-Rod came out clean. He told the truth. Other guys who were there, they told the truth. They came out clean, and they came out clean before the fact. So when it all went down, you know what? We already done started to forgive them. So when it all happened and came out, it wasn't as bad as it was once was. But now with Canelo, he's blaming it on the cow. And it's like, dude, like, did you just reach for that one? Is that the quickest excuse y'all can come up with? Blaming it on the cow? I mean, I don't know. Those of you who are tuning in and watching the show right now, let me know in the comment section. I'm getting ready to go to the next caller. Yo, state your name, where you from.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing? State your name, where you from, please.
James Dominguez, Ohio.
Oh, this is my boy James. James, what's popping, man?
How are you?
Oh, I'm good. How you doing?
Good, good. I've just listened to your show over here and had a little bit of information that maybe you guys could use. I don't know, take it or leave it.
Oh, come with it, please.
Well, speaking on the Clenbuterol, I fought on the Army team from 1997 to 2001. And I think we have a delay or something, but hold on, let me fix that delay.
Okay.
Sorry about that. All right, you there?
I'm right here.
Well, on that time during the Army team, I got married and went to Mexico. And I went to Mexico. I was there for 2 weeks. When I came back, I was drug tested by my unit. And in the Army, they use what they call a 5-panel drug test. That's, for your basic marijuana, cocaine, methamphetamines, LSD. You know what I mean?
Right.
And but when you're an athlete on the All Army team or the Army team, you're done a 9-panel. And I tested positive in 2001 for Clenbuterol. I never even heard of the drug before. So I was sat for the next month while they investigated, and they sent my results to the lab in Fort Carson, Colorado. They found out there was trace amounts in my liver, and they even said it was from the meat that I was ingesting there. But either way, I mean, I'm not saying he's innocent or guilty. I'm just saying that is possible because I tested positive for it. I never even heard of the drug. Mind you, I wasn't a professional making millions of dollars a year. I was an Army athlete.
Oh, what? See. So what's good about that, James, is the fact that now it helps me feel a little bit better, given the fact that it's like, well, okay, there's a possibility that Canelo could actually be truly telling the truth as it pertains to that.
Yes.
And I've never felt as though Canelo, was a cheater of the sport, given the fact that he never tested positive for anything, any substance ever throughout his whole entire career. And to me, that's why I said I'm teetering between.
Agreed, bro.
Between the fact,
I agree. And cheaters are not going to pay $20,000 of VADA to know they're going to get caught. Who does that? He's gonna say he don't want to use VADA. That's what most do.
Right.
I don't want to. And also, when I went through it, I did a lot of research on Clenbuterol because I want to know what it was. What it does is it depletes the fat cells in your body. It shrinks them to almost non-existent. So you're not holding any fat. And it depletes the water intake of your body. So for you to stay healthy, you have to triple your water intake just to break even. So what? And we all know when Canelo weighs in, he weighs in between 155, 160, depending on the fight that he's fighting in. Correct?
Correct.
Fight night, he's always 185, 190 on that 30 hours later. Is that indicative of somebody on Clenbuterol when you have no fat cells left, you have no fat on your body, and you can't hydrate properly?
Oh man, that is a good point because he rehydrates very well.
30 pounds. Now, not to throw shade on anybody, but if you look at some of these Russian fighters nowadays, they're gaining 3 pounds, 4 pounds after weigh-in 30 hours later, or not gaining any weight at all. Now that was more indicative of somebody on Clenbuterol. Or Manny Pacquiao weighing less than he weighed the night before, weighing less than his weigh-in.
Right, and that's one thing I had a question about was with Pacquiao, it was so many questions theming around Pacquiao because, like you just said, he would come in at a smaller weight than he was even at the weigh-in.
Yes, he would weigh in at 40 and come in at 38 and a quarter, which is highly irregular, and that's something that Clenbuterol, Danazol, and Winstrol would do to you.
Man.
And also, how do you go from 105 pounds knocking people out at 147?
Exactly. So, but people want to,
Chocolatito can't even go from 108 to 115 to knock people out.
and we've seen these things happening in the sport of boxing, and it's like you want the sport to be clean, you want it to be purified, so that we can have the best fights possible that are out there. And when you have things like this come up in the sport too, and especially with a guy who is a household name, who is pretty much the face of boxing, since Mayweather left. If I'm right or wrong, I feel as though the face of boxing is Canelo right now. And
yeah, well, I agree.
So where do we go now as a fight fan? What do we do now as a fight fan? How should we feel, given the fact that, this news have came out about Canelo? How should a fight fan feel right now?
Well, the fight fan, I think, and not just fight fans, I think anybody involved in the sport, I think they have to use their God-given intelligence on this and realize if it's trace amounts you're finding in the liver, if you're finding trace amounts in the liver and not in the bloodstream, it's actually processing through the body, which is right, like food would. through the liver, through pushing toxins out. So what I was saying was this. Nobody knows when VADA's coming to test you. It's random. They come anytime. They could be there 4 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock at night. You don't know. How would he know when to cycle off when you don't know when VADA's coming?
That's right.
And regardless, I think this has damaged Canelo. I think win or lose, if Canelo wins, it's because he's a drug user now. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And whether it's true or not, he's always going to hold on to that. And then you have guys like, I don't know who was notorious for it. Like let's be honest, Shane Mosley was even called out by Falco, for using, and you don't hear shit about it. They kind of forgot all about that, maybe because he's out of sight, out of mind. But there are athletes, and Shane Mosley was another one who did gain weight after weigh-in. He would go 3 pounds above what he was supposed to. He would gain at 47 and weigh in at 51, 30 hours later,
Right.
I think it's a lot of, like what you were saying, is where do fighters go? I think a lot of them just have. I mean, there's going to be people you can't convince, and then there's going to be people that's going to be more objective to it. And I think there's a lot of Canelo haters, and they love to hear the news. I'm not a Canelo fan. We know that. I'm not. I've never said I was a Canelo fan. I've met him in person. I'm not a big fan of him as a person, but going through what I went through, I understand how that could happen.
Well, James, man, I appreciate you giving us, more clarification as that substance is concerned. Given the fact that you've experienced that before, that helps solidifies a whole lot of people teetering between the fact of should they believe it, should they not believe it. And to me, it makes me kind of believe. I believe Canelo when it comes to that, given the fact that is a possibility that can actually truly happen. And for a guy who has never tested positive at all, period, and knowing that VADA is going to be randomly testing him, given us the time frame he has up until this fight, dude, I have to agree with the fact that Canelo just did not have any, regulation as it pertains to that particular substance at all, period.
And also, that being said, I think Canelo needs to be more intelligent, more choosy where he gets his food. Let's be honest. A lot of fighters in Mexico, they go to Japan, they get their meat sent from Japan to the United States. Let's be intelligent. If you know there's a problem with Clenbuterol there, why would you eat the meat there? You know what I mean?
Right. Absolutely.
So I would be more protective of my career and maybe not eat meat there. I would, then for Wagyu beef or Kobe, like a lot of these guys are from Japan or even the U.S., where it's inspected by the USDA.
Oh, most definitely, James, man. I agree with you. Hey, everybody that's tuning in, make sure you tune in tomorrow to Kelly Pavlik and James Dominguez live on Facebook, The Punchline, and also on YouTube, The Punchline with Kelly Pavlik and James Dominguez. Awesome show. And they got some good inside information on what took place at the Kovalev event, because you all were at Madison Square Garden this past weekend, right?
We were there. We got to spend time with Bivol. We got to spend time talking, and we had breakfast with Bivol. And we Kovalev, my little brother worked Kovalev's corner for this fight, so we got to see a lot of what went on, and it was a great event. And before I go, I just wanted to say what an honor it is for you to have me on your show, Jeremy. And I love your show, and you're doing a great job. And if there's anything we can do to help you, let us know. So. Oh man,
I sure will,
you're
man.
You're one of the best guys out there for it,
Tell Kelly I said what's happening, and I'll be definitely tuning in on tomorrow.
And we need to get you on the show. I know that you weren't able to come on because you had something come up, but let's get you back on.
Oh, most definitely. I definitely will, James, man. I appreciate it.
Why don't you go ahead and give the show a call in tomorrow, and we'll get you on. You can.
Oh, most definitely. I sure will. You can believe that.
All right. And like I said, it's an honor being on your show, Jeremy, and I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody.
All right. Thank you. Everybody, that was James Dominguez, him and Kelly Pavlik. If any of you know Kelly Pavlik, world champion, that was James Dominguez, his co-host right there, calling in, giving us some clarification as it pertains to his substance that, Canelo has been popped with. But we moving on to the next caller. Yo, what's up? State your name and where you're from.
Hey, what's going on, bro? This is Paul from Philly.
Okay, what's popping, bro?
Too much, man. Ain't too much, man. Yeah, just called to weigh in on that little Canelo situation. I don't really know what to think about it. I mean, that caller you just had on before was saying, guys are responsible for what they put in their body, and a lot of these athletes, man, I think they know what they're doing, man. I mean, it's just people cheat until they get caught. You know what I mean? I'm not saying he was ever a cheater, but he could have always been doing this and just never got caught for doing it. You feel me?
Oh, I feel you. I agree.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, it happens. You know what I mean? It's just ironic that it happens on the rematch. And if you watch the first fight with him and Triple G, if you watch that fight, he kind of, if anything, that's not a substance that really is going to make him any stronger. But that's just basically something more to have him. It's like more, I guess, it makes you breathe better. You hear me, bro? You hear me, brother?
Oh yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay, yeah. My phone was acting a little weird, but yeah, man. I'm not sure if he, I mean, did it purposely. But I mean, I'm pretty sure he does research on what happens with, especially down there in Mexico with, with some of the meat down there. I mean, this is not the first time we heard of an athlete, something like that happened with an athlete. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think, what's his name? UFC fighter, I think Alistair Overeem, right?
Right.
Something similar happened to him. Yeah, So I mean, like the guy said, if you see a building, a green building with a red door, and it tells you don't go in that building, you know what I mean? You see people going in there anyway and coming out, unhealthy. You know what I'm saying? You still go in there and do it. I mean, come on, you feel me?
So let me ask you: do you think, given the fact that you got a little bit of clarification on the substance, and that you can test positive for that by it being in the food that you eat or the meats that you consume, would you say that Canelo is a cheater?
I mean, you know what? They gotta just off of this situation here. I can't. I mean, and I'm not a Canelo fan, but I'm just a fair. I look at fair at the end of the day. Just period. I'm just a fair dude, and I just I can't really say I wouldn't call him a cheater. I mean, now if he if it's been in the past, if it's been happening and we don't know about it, I mean we'll never know. But I don't know, man.
Okay.
It's hard to say. It's like a question mark.
Is it okay to give Canelo the benefit of the doubt, given the fact that he never tested positive for any substances prior to this one right here?
Absolutely, you have to, man.
There
you
go.
have to. You have to. I mean, and I'm gonna say something else. I mean, I know we have, and I'm probably get crucified for it, but you have a lot of, Floyd's one of the best boxers that ever lived. You understand what I'm saying?
Most definitely.
One of the best boxers that ever lived. Top 5, guaranteed top 5. You know what I mean?
Oh, I agree.
But I mean, if you look, I mean, he wasn't perfect within his what he did either. I mean, everybody seems to forget. Not saying he cheated, because he never actually tested positive for anything, but he actually did something illegal that he wasn't supposed to do. That was banned by water. When he took the illegal IVs or vitamin. If I'm not mistaken, what was it? It was some type of vitamins IV that he took before the Pacquiao fight.
Right.
And it was.
But they said it was from dehydration.
That's what they said. But at the same time, I mean, you got to hold. You have to. I mean, if somebody else would have said that, okay, what if that would have been Manny Pacquiao and they would have called him an IV? He would have said, oh, it's for dehydration or something, would anybody believe him? Would they think he was cheating because he's Manny Pacquiao or anybody else? You feel me?
Right. You got a point. I feel you.
I mean, you have to. I mean, we're fans first, and it's just like we don't want to think anybody. It's just like somebody in our family does something wrong, you would be like, no, he wouldn't never do that. In the back of your mind, you trying to say, well, maybe he did, but I just got to back him anyway. you got to hold everybody accountable for things when they do wrong. They do wrong. Not saying he did anything wrong, but just the look of it just didn't look right. You feel me?
Right.
That's all I'm saying. You got to hold people accountable. I know everybody loves Floyd, and I mean this ain't this topic ain't about Floyd, but I heard somebody mention. If you mention one, you got to mention them all. You know what I mean? Manny Pacquiao, he refused to take a test. Was he cheating? We don't know that. It looks like he was because he didn't take the test. You know what I mean?
Oh, I absolutely agree. I agree with you.
You know what I mean? So we can all speculate and say, oh, yeah, he's been taking this, taking that. That's all speculation. And it's all speculation as far as what Floyd did too. Yeah, the IVs were illegal, but did he ever test positive for anything? Absolutely not. Did Manny Pacquiao ever test positive? Absolutely not. So therefore, it's all speculation. Unfortunately, Canelo tested positive for a banned substance. So he got caught doing something. Whether it was purposely done or accidentally without his knowing, remains to be seen. You feel me?
I feel you.
So I mean, that's all. That's all I want to call and say, man. And that's about it, man. But yeah. Well, one more thing before I go, bro. What do you think about the who you have winning if the fight still goes on, which I think it will, and I hope. But who you got winning this fight coming up? G and Alvarez.
I don't know, man. Right now, that's something that you may have to tune in for when we have a show on this topic. I can't give it to you right. Can't give it to you just yet. But I will say this. I did have Triple G winning the first fight.
I did too. I had him winning by 2 points.
Yeah, I had him winning the first fight. So
Yeah, I had him winning. I mean, I had him winning a split decision. Just from. I mean, there's effective aggressiveness and there's aggressiveness. I mean, he took Canelo out of his element. Canelo never fights that way. You feel me? So it was something different Canelo tried to put in his game plan in a fight. And Triple G is probably one of the first guys that made him fight that way. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, hey man. I think it'll be a good fight. I think it'll be another good fight. We'll see. Hopefully this thing right here doesn't dampen nothing.
No.
With this situation,
But that's what's up, man. I appreciate you calling in and tuning in. We're gonna open up the phone lines for the next caller, man, and thank you for weighing in on this subject.
Absolutely, man. All right, take care.
Thank you. So we trying to figure this thing out. Does it tarnish his legacy? I see people asking, is the fight in jeopardy? The fight is not in jeopardy at all, period. I believe from the promotion standpoint and the money that's being put into this fight, and he has Oscar De La Hoya on his side. And the fact that he has Oscar De La Hoya on his side and what it is that, Oscar can, the money that's been put into this fight, and this is something that everybody still wants to see. The fight is going to happen still. I just feel as though, given the fact that from what James Dominguez, from what he talked about, the fact that you can, test positive for this, and it can be something that you may consume in, and you can do it unknowingly. And it's something that, we're teetering between if it was knowingly or unknowingly, but unknowingly, if he consumed that meat and it happened, and it was unknowingly, then we can't fault Canelo for that at all, period. I don't think it gives him an edge at all as this fight is concerned as we move forward. I don't think it gives Canelo any kind of edge at all, period. If anything, he's just going to come in, like James said. When you look at how Canelo comes in on weigh-ins and what he rehydrates to within the next 30 hours, no, I just can't say that Canelo is a cheater. I just can't say it, and I can't say that this fight is going to be in jeopardy, because it's going to happen. This fight is going to happen, whether we like it or not. It's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? But it's a whole lot of other news in boxing And those of you who was tuning in on this past weekend, we were sitting here. We talked about one guy that was in particular as we move on a little bit from the Canelo situation, but we will be going back to it. But it's this fight right here with Anthony Joshua versus Joseph Parker. This is the final two in March Madness. This is the final two. And what I mean by the final two, Ortiz and Wilder was the first fight. Now we get Joseph Parker versus Anthony Joshua in the second fight. And then at the end, who is ever the winner out of this fight has to take on Deontay Wilder. You have to. And it's no knock against Wilder at all. I give Deontay Wilder a whole lot of credit for what it is that he did in the fight with Luis